Hello and welcome to another Spider-Man class. Today, we're going to do one of Spidey's oldest villains, the Lizard. So sit down, stick around, and enjoy. Alright, now like any other villain, you got to start with an origin. The Lizard's origin comes in Amazing Spider-Man number 6 from good old 1964, in which we see Dr. Curt Connors for the first time. Now, what's neat about Curt Connors is he's kind of a victim of circumstance. What happens to him is he is a army medic. He's a medical doctor with the army, and during a accident in the army, he loses his arm. What does he do about it? Well, when he comes back to America, comes back to his home state of Florida, he decides that he's going to grow that arm back. So he starts experimenting in genetics with lizard DNA, because we all know the lizard, you can tear off his tail and the tail will grow back. So Connors thought this was a good idea of regeneration. So what he thinks is, well, I can do the same thing with my arm. What happens, he experiments with certain animals and it works. So then, much to the chagrin of his wife Martha, he decides, hey, screw this, I'm going to try it on myself. And which he does. And subsequently, his arm grows back, but he later sees the side effects that turn him into a walking, talking lizard. So, I mean, he meant well, but in the end, it didn't turn out that well for him. Now, Spider-Man will have battles with the Lizard on several occasions, most notably in Amazing number 6. He'll come back in Amazing number 45. There was some time between the two where he was not in Amazing Spider-Man. He did appear in other books. Curt Connors is actually a friend of Peter Parker, as Peter Parker is his assistant as a teacher at Empire University. It's kind of always fit the way that Parker works, that it's always the people around him that become the villains, which is kind of cool, because it always gives a extra kind of, oh no, you know, Peter's gonna, what is he gonna do, because he's kind of battling one of his friends. Or the father of his friend, in case of the Goblin, all kinds of stuff like that. And it always made the stories a lot more interesting, a lot more personal on that level. The Lizard will go on to turn in and out of lizardness. Spider-Man always had a cure for him, gives him this temporary cure. Then next thing you know, the Lizard would turn back to Curt Connors for a while. Then he turned back to the Lizard and go crazy again. Go all animalistic for a while. Then he'd go more normal-esque for a while. It kind of depends. Most of the time, the Lizard's personality is very animal-like. Sometimes he actually has almost all of Curt Connors' personality. So he's actually a sophisticated lizard. And when he's a sophisticated lizard, he actually helps Spider-Man battle crime, which is kind of neat. So he's kind of a yin and yang. The Sandman also was kind of yin and yang also. More yang than yin, but you know what I mean. Now, what will happen later on in the series, his family, Curt Connors' family, he has a wife, Martha, he has a son, Billy. What's going to happen is the wife and son are going to contract cancer because of where they lived all their lives, close to a certain facility that basically contaminated the environment. Billy will recover from the cancer, luckily. Martha, though, she will not. Curt will lose his wife, Martha. And later on, actually, Spider-Man will battle the Lizard and battle a somewhat smaller version of the Lizard. And if you haven't guessed it by now, yeah, that's Billy. Little Billy Connors. So Curt basically injects Billy with the Lizard serum. And yeah, Billy becomes a mini version of the Lizard. Although it's kind of weird because he looks like he's 13 in some books, and in other books earlier on looks like he's 8. somewhere between 13 and 8, 14 years old, 7 years old. You don't really know. Like, he never really aged. The kid never aged. I mean, but then again, I mean, Spider-Man didn't age that much during the years either. So it's kind of like Lizard and Mini Lizard. Now, we don't know if this is going to lead up eventually to maybe Curt being killed, only to return later, but killed for now, and Billy taking over his mantle. I really don't know. That's yet to be seen. The Lizard had plenty of fights with Spider-Man. He's definitely a key villain in the storyline. He's appeared in all the Spider-Man series. Well, all the main ones, from the cartoon series, from the 60s series, to the Amazing Spider-Man series, to the animated series, and even more recently now to the Spectacular Spider-Man animated series. So he's been around since the beginning, and they've been using him since the beginning. Interesting note, in the new shitty Spider-Man, brand new day era, you know, where everything makes perfect sense, Curt Connors has actually appeared, and he does experiments with animal DNA. And that's actually the experimentation that was taken and ingested by, ingest I should say. Yeah, I guess you can say ingested. I can't remember if he snorted it or shot it up at this point. But Freak took some of Curt Connors' experimentation and basically became this weird self-mutating villain. Yeah. Let's not ruin Lizard with Freak and all this crap. So let's just not talk about Freak right now. But like I said, Curt Connors is definitely a staple character in the Spider-Man universe. He also appeared in the Spider-Man movies, actually, in all 3 of them, which is kind of cool. Hopefully one day, maybe in Spider-Man 4, finally, you know, he'll inject himself and we'll get to see the Lizard on the big screen. Who knows? But overall, the Lizard, a old character, a big character in the Spider-Man universe, but not much to him as origins and all that matter. Not a lot of associations, and he didn't really stray that much from the Spider-Man books. And he wasn't used, he was used often, but not very. So, take care, guys. Later.